Hello and welcome back to another Dare to Game video. Today we're playing Starfield, and I'm going to be going over the top 5 or 6 most, I wouldn't call them important, but I guess useful, the ones that I actually find useful for the Starborn Powers. So, just a brief little summary here. Early on in the game, you will do one of the main story missions called, I believe, Into the Unknown. And this mission will have you going to your first temple and unlocking your first Starborn Power, which will be the gravity field. After that, you can keep doing these. I can't remember if you actually need to. I know I definitely always do, because I like having the Starborn Powers. But, where you'll go to other planets, clear other temples, and get more power. And some of these are things like a kinetic blast, or things that pull things towards you, and have limited usefulness. They're kind of fun to play around with. I like having the kind of force push one on me at times, just because it's fun to use in combat. But they're not overly useful. But some of them I do find to be useful no matter what playstyle you're using. And those are the ones we're going to be talking about today. So let's just kind of start talking about them. So you can see we've got a number of them unlocked on this playthrough here. We've got Sunless Space, Solar Flare, Elemental Pull, Earthbound, Inner Demon, Sense Star Stuff, Reactive Shield, Gravity Well, Creator's Peace, Precognition, Gravity Wave, Phased Time, Create Vacuum, Alien Reanimation, Anti-Gravity Field, Grav Dash, Personal Atmosphere, Eternal Harvest, Particle Beam, and Void Form. So some of these are ones that are more like a utility, which are the ones that I personally find to be the most useful just for varied playthroughs. Other ones are going to be like direct damage or more combative ones. So there's a lot of ways to look at this. Obviously, some of them are more powerful than others, like if you're looking for pure damage. And outside of that, not overly useful, but because of the fact that like a shotgun blast is going to probably offer more utility and damage in combat, a lot of those really get forgotten. So I like to use the ones that actually have a purpose and that I find myself using more than once or twice every, 3 or 4 hours of gameplay. So the first one I want to talk about is Sense Star Stuff. This one is actually really useful. So it says, bind yourself to the particles of creation, sensing the life force of any human, alien, or starborn. It costs 15 power to use. It's honestly useful for pretty much every playstyle. Basically, it's just like a recon thing. And so when you press this one it's obviously proximity based. Typically, I'll use this when I'm clearing like outposts or something like that. But you activate it, and it will, within range, we obviously don't have any in range right now, highlight all of your different life forms, aliens, humans, I think even robots, stuff like that, just so you know where all of them are. It's actually really, really useful. I use it a lot of times when I'm clearing bases, especially higher level Varu and Ecliptic stuff over in like the level 75 systems and stuff like that, or during missions where I need to find people to eliminate them, because sometimes they'll be hiding right around the corner and for some reason won't be aggroed the right way. And so yeah, Sense Star Stuff is one that, it may not be what a lot of people consider to be overly useful, but I consider it to be really, really useful just in everyday gameplay. So yeah, I like Sense Star Stuff. That's the first one I wanted to talk about. The next one I want to talk about is Personal Atmosphere. So this one says, oxygen, pure and clean, brought forth to breathe deep and counteract harmful carbon dioxide. Basically, this one just refreshes your oxygen supply in the game. And so one of the features that Starfield introduced, instead of just a strict stamina system, we have an oxygen and CO2 meter to balance out. And so when you're running, especially if you're carrying a lot of weight, you use up your oxygen, and once you've run long enough, you actually start having a CO2 buildup, which can, in the end, cause lung damage. So you can see we're building that up right now. If we want to stop that so we can run some more, we reactivate that power, and we automatically can bring it all the way back down to a full oxygen meter. And then for a while afterwards can run perfectly unhindered and won't even be losing our oxygen. So I find this one to be another one that is pretty useful for most playthroughs. If you find yourself running around a lot and running out of oxygen and building up on CO2, this one's really useful. And you can, you can't use it incredibly frequently, but I find that I can use it often enough to make it extremely useful. And so for just lots of practical reasons, I find Personal Atmosphere to be another one that is well worth getting and using, because it's just really, really useful. Another one that's useful, maybe not for every single type of playthrough, but definitely for stealth or maybe criminal type activities, or I guess if you're just a lower level and you don't want to get gang rushed all the time and taken out too quickly, Void Form. It's basically invisibility. So it says, Void Form, channel the very darkness of space, rendering yourself nearly invisible to those around you. It costs 45 power. Honestly, like I said, there's not a whole lot to discuss with this one, just given the fact that most people are familiar with invisibility in, you know, games like this. And so if you want to use it, you can cast it like that, and it makes you very, very easily hidden and pretty much undetectable by most enemy types, especially if you're holding still. So, like I said, yeah, it's not a cool laser beam that you can blast out of your hand, but it is extremely useful in hiding from your enemies. And so if you're trying to pickpocket someone or do a stealth attack or just avoid being, you know, engaged in combat every couple seconds, that one is very, very useful just for a lot of different reasons. And so for all of those obvious reasons, Void Form is another one that I really, really enjoy, and I definitely recommend people give it a try. Another one that I find to be particularly fun to use and also considerably more useful than some of the other ones is Creator's Peace. So this one says, fill your foes with a silent calm of the universe, compelling them to temporarily abandon their weapons. This one is unique in the way, I shouldn't say unique, I keep saying that, I'm saying it too much. All of them are unique because there's only one for everyone. But anyway, this one is very useful in a lot of different situations because it's just, you're just de-aggroing your enemies. So it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of a firefight or you just started shooting up downtown New Atlantis or whatever, you're fighting on an ecliptic spaceship. This one will make all of the enemies within the radius of you that it affects just immediately cease their aggression and stop fighting you. So it's kind of like using the intimidation or not intimidation, the pacification system in this game, but you don't have to target people individually, you just cast it and everyone around you will temporarily be de-aggroed. Now it doesn't last forever, so obviously it's not as effective as the pacification skill is, but it also doesn't fail like the pacification one often does. So I just find Creator's Peace to be very useful if you, like, a lot of times I'll accidentally get into combat, especially somewhere like one of the settlements. You know, I'll be absentmindedly walking through and I'll fire a round off and accidentally cap some civilian or something like that, and then all the cops are suddenly real pissed at me like I did something wrong. In that situation, it's very useful to be able to quickly pop this, and then if you just want to pay off your bounty or whatever, you can. Or if you go on a rampage to kill everyone and get all of their gear, and then you're like, okay, but now I don't want this bounty on me, so you're just going to get arrested so you can go to jail, you know, you can immediately pop this and let yourself get arrested. There's a lot of reasons why I like Creator's Peace. I just find it to be very, very useful. So that's why I wanted to include it in this video. Another one that's worth looking at, now this one is a direct damage one, but it's also just really fun to use. It's called Particle Beam. So it says, emit a powerful ray of cosmic energy dealing terrifying damage to a single target. This one is just where you can blast out this beam of energy, which it's fun to be able to do this without using a weapon. I wish we could use it more frequently. It does only cost 15 power, so at least you can regenerate that relatively quickly. I wish we could use it even more frequently because then I would probably have playthroughs where I just specifically try and use this as much as possible, especially in New Game Plus. So I find Particle Beam to be a fun one to use. If you see, we can probably find, I hear someone walking around over here, so should be probably over on this side. We'll give her a test. There we go. See, a beastie. That one's dead already. That one's dead already. There we go. Oh, we missed. So you can see you can use it several times because it, you know, doesn't take nearly as much power as some of the other ones. And I just find it to be pretty useful. Now, obviously, we're sitting on a planet that's relatively high-leveled, so these are actually decently dangerous bugs as far as alien life forms go. But it's got about the same amount of damage as a pretty high-leveled handgun, which is what I currently have in my hand. So it's definitely useful. I find it fun, and like I said, it is kind of helps with, I don't know if you want to call it the god fantasy or whatever of the Starborn type of power, where you can actually just inflict direct damage. Like I said, yeah, it's not going to deal as much damage as a shotgun blast, but it is fun to use. And finally, we have Sunless Space. So this one says, introduce your enemies to the cold of space, freezing them in their tracks. This one is kind of like using the cryo ability that some weapons will have, or if you shoot one of the barrels or something like that, and it freezes your enemies in place. It's really good for slowing people down. I find this one's great if you suddenly find yourself surrounded by a lot of enemies and you're trying to make some space so you can take them out carefully, or if you just, you know, like screwing with people and you want to freeze them in place. It's useful for all of those things. So we'll see if we can't find someone for me to test this out on. Alright, so now we just gotta wait for the scarab to come on over here so we can freeze him. I'm over encumbered right now, so running is a bit of a challenge. He deflected it by hitting us. And so just like that, you get that area of effect damage or whatever where it explodes out and freezes people solid. And it actually lasts for quite a while, you can see. That's how long that he stayed frozen. So I find it to be pretty useful. Like I said, you can use it in combat and out of combat. Of course, if you use it on someone where you're not in combat, you will probably then be in combat once they've unfrozen. But I just find it to be an interesting utility spell or not spell, see, look at that, I'm calling it a spell, Starborn Power, that I find myself using a decent amount in this game. So yeah, that is all of the ones that I wanted to take a look at today. I know a lot of people find the Starborn Powers to be a little overrated and not that useful or whatever, but I actually like these ones. So that's all for today. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you've got a favorite Starborn Power, why don't you let me know down in the comment section. But in any case, that's all for today, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching another Dare to Game video. If you liked this video, please leave a like and a comment. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like my content and would like to support this channel, consider becoming a member today for as little as $1.99 a month. It makes a huge difference. But in any case, thanks for watching and have a nice day. I'll see you next time.